facts that now invite both parties and both houses of Congress to roll up their sleeves and get working to try to get something done.
The President today denied he's ever broken the law in terms of wiretaps. He also indicated that anything that was looked into, any calls, had some sort of foreign aspect, either to or from. And he says he's always obeyed the law. Are all of these stories untrue that we've been reading for the last several days? Millions of Americans have been wiretapped?
There is, okay, well, let's, yeah.
Turned over to the government.
Okay, let's try to segregate the stories here. What he said about the terror surveillance program is that these are foreign to domestic calls and they were all done within the parameters of the law. He has not commented on his
said he didn't obey that law.
No, he didn't. What he said is that he has done everything within the confines of the law. The second thing is you're mentioning the USA Today story about which this administration has no comment. But I would direct you back to the USA Today story itself, and if you analyze what that story said, what did it say? It said there is no wiretapping of individual calls. There is no personal information that is being relayed. There's no name, there is no address, there is no consequence of the calls, there's no description of who the party on the other end is.
Privacy was breached by turning over their phone numbers.
Well, again, you are jumping to conclusions about a program, the existence of which we will neither confirm nor deny. Because, I'll take... You know, what's interesting is there seems to be a notion that because the President has talked a little bit about one surveillance program and one matter of our intelligence gathering, that somehow we have to tell the entire world, we have to make intelligence gathering transparent. Let me remind you, it's a war on terror. And there are people, I guarantee you, Al-Qaeda does not believe, no, the President is not talking about breaking the law, but Al-Qaeda doesn't believe in transparency. What Al-Qaeda believes in is mayhem, and the President has a constitutional obligation and a heartfelt determination to make sure we fight it. Absolutely right. Absolutely right, and he believes in obeying it. Martha.
Repeat the same thing, but why not declassify this? I mean, the President did talk about the surveillance program a day after the New York Times broke that story. This would seem to affect far more people. And it did sound like the President was confirming that story today. He was answering Terry's question.
Well, if you go back and you look through what he said, there was a reference to foreign to domestic calls. I am not going to stand up here and presume to declassify any kind of program. That is a decision the President has to make. I can't confirm or deny it. The President was not confirming or denying. Again, I would take you back to the USA Today story simply to give you a little context. Look at the poll that appeared the following day. While there was part of it said 51% of the American people opposed. If you look at when people said, if there was a roster of phone numbers, do you feel comfortable with that? I'm paraphrasing and I apologize, but something like 64% of the public was not troubled by it. Having said that, I don't want to hug the tar baby of trying to comment on the program, the existence of the alleged program, the existence of which I can neither confirm nor deny.
But there are other polls that show Americans are very concerned about this.
But the President, you cannot run a security. You cannot base national security on poll numbers. As the President of the United States, you have to make your own judgments about what is in the nation's best interest. Well, I did bring it up because what you were talking about is how people were concerned about privacy issues, and I tried to relate to you what happened. It was interesting. When people were given the specifics in that story, they did not seem to be terribly troubled.
They are now.
The news coming out today.
Well, that may have more to do with the way it's being spun than the way it's actually. Go ahead.
The news